The homeless man whispered calmly, "Don't speak, just listen." Police officer Carla Davis froze, but what she didn't know was that this would change her life completely. A fine drizzle in Chicago kissed the downtown asphalt as Sergeant Carla Davis stepped out of her patrol car. Her dark blue police uniform contrasted with the late afternoon gloom that was swallowing the streets of the Pilsen neighborhood. She adjusted her bulletproof vest and closed the car door, the sound echoing between the old brick buildings that held decades of Chicago's stories. That's when she saw him. Leaning against the wall of a peeling brick tenement, a man watched her every move with eyes that cut through the urban fog like sharp blades. Dirty clothes clung to his thin body, a disheveled beard obscured half his face, and matted hair dripped with the persistent fine rain. At his feet, a golden and white mutt stood alert, its ears perked up like sentinels. Carla felt a shiver run up her spine. 10 years on the force had taught her to recognize danger, but something about this man's gaze was different. It wasn't a threat. It was urgency. The man made an almost imperceptible gesture with his hand, and his raspy voice cut through the traffic noise of Halsted Street. "Don't speak. Just listen." Carla frowned, her hand instinctively reaching for her pistol's grip in its holster, but his eyes, brown, deep, desperate, made her stop. "There's someone in the alley waiting for you, knife in hand. I saw him follow you from the loop." Carla's heart pounded. She glanced quickly at the narrow alley between two commercial buildings, where shadows huddled like ill-kept secrets. "Who are you?" she whispered. "Doesn't matter now. 3 steps to your left, then run. Rex and I will handle the rest." As if he understood every word, the dog stood up, its body tense, ready for action. Carla hesitated for a fraction of a second, but something in the man's voice, an authority mixed with desperation, made her trust him. She took the 3 steps he indicated. That's when a blade sliced through the air exactly where she had been standing seconds before. The assailant emerged from the shadows like an attacking snake, short, dark-haired, with hate-filled eyes and a knife that glinted under the yellow street lamplight. Carla rolled to the side, trying to draw her weapon, but the man was fast. "You goddamn cop!" The words were cut short when a ragged figure threw himself at the attacker. The homeless man had leaped from the wall with an agility that completely contradicted his frail appearance. Rex barked furiously, circling the 2 men as they rolled on the wet ground, waiting for the right opportunity to strike. "Rex, get him!" the homeless man yelled. The dog sank its teeth into the attacker's wrist, making him drop the knife with a cry of pain. Carla finally managed to draw her pistol. "Police, on the ground, now!" The attacker, bleeding and overpowered by the homeless man who was stronger than he looked, finally surrendered. Carla cuffed him with precise movements, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "You lowlife," the prisoner gasped, looking at the homeless man. "You shouldn't have gotten involved." "Shut up," Carla said, tightening the cuffs. Then she looked at her savior. You saved my life." The man rose slowly, wiping his dirty hands on his torn shirt. Rex came running to him, tail wagging, seeking affection. "It's all right, ma'am. It's my job to watch the streets." "Your job?" Carla frowned. A tired smile crossed his bearded face. "Let's just say I know every corner of this city, and you seemed like a good person." Sirens in the distance announced the arrival of backup. Carla looked at the man, really looked for the first time. Beneath the dirt and matted hair, there was intelligence in his eyes, dignity in his posture, something she had misjudged at first glance. "What's your name?" "Joe." "But everyone calls me Joey." "Joey," Carla repeated as if testing the sound. "I'm Sergeant Carla Davis, and I owe you." Joey shook his head. "You don't owe me anything, but if you want to repay me—" He looked at Rex, who was panting tiredly. A bowl of water for Rex wouldn't hurt. Carla felt something break inside her chest. How had she judged him so wrong? The patrol car arrived with noise and lights, 2 police officers jumping out with their hands on their holsters. Officer Martins, a pot-bellied veteran, eyed Joey suspiciously. "What happened here, Sergeant?" Carla finished putting the attacker in the back of the patrol car. "Attempted assault. This man here stopped me from being attacked." Officer Jones, a younger one, scowled. "A homeless man. Sergeant, are you sure?" "I'm sure of what I saw," Carla cut in sharply. "He saved my life." Joey took a step back, clearly uncomfortable with the attention. Rex growled softly, sensing his owner's tension. "No need for trouble," Joey murmured. "I'll be going." "Wait." Carla approached, pulling a $20 bill from her wallet. "At least let me—" "No." Joey's voice was firm, but not angry. "It wasn't for money." "Then why?" Joey looked at her for a long moment, as if calculating if it was worth answering. Because you said hello to Mrs. Hernandez at the corner store yesterday. I saw you helping her with her boxes. Good people deserve to be protected. Carla fell silent. She didn't even remember the incident. It had been an automatic, natural gesture, but he had noticed. How many other people observed her actions without her knowing? Do you need medical attention? She asked, noticing a cut on Joey's arm. No hospital, he answered too quickly. Carla understood. People like Joey had their reasons for avoiding institutions. Instead, she went to her patrol car and returned with a first aid kit. At least let me clean that up. Joey hesitated but finally extended his arm. Carla cleaned the wound carefully, feeling him tense with every touch. When she finished, she took an emergency blanket from the car. For you and Rex. Thank you, Joey said, and there was something in his voice that made Carla realize genuine thanks were rare in his life. Officer Martins cleared his throat. Sergeant, we have to take the suspect in. You go ahead. They'll finish up here and come back in my car. As the patrol car drove away, taking the attacker with it, the street returned to its normal rhythm. People hurried by, the drizzle continued to fall, and Chicago went on with its endless urban dance. Joey, Carla called before he disappeared, where do you stay? Around here. Why? I want to thank you properly. With a real meal. Joey shook his head. No need. Yes, there is. Carla went to her car and returned with a takeout container she had saved for her own dinner. At least this. Joey took the container, and Rex sniffed the air, tail wagging expectantly. Thank you, Sergeant Davis. Just Carla. An almost imperceptible smile crossed Joey's face. Thank you, Carla. She watched him walk away down the sidewalk, Rex trotting beside him, and was left with the strange feeling that her life had changed forever in those few minutes, but she didn't yet know how much. 3 days later, Carla couldn't get Joey out of her head. During her patrols of the downtown area, her eyes scanned every corner, every overpass, every makeshift shelter under awnings. She looked for a bearded man and a golden and white dog, but the city seemed to have swallowed them both. You're acting weird, commented Officer Martins when they stopped for coffee at the French Market near Union Station. Ever since that thing with the homeless guy, you've been, I don't know, different. Carla stirred sugar into her coffee, pensive. Different how? Looking at people on the street more. Before you only saw problems. Now you're seeing people. Maybe Martins was right. She had started to notice things that had previously gone unnoticed. The man who sold candy at the traffic light and always smiled at the kids. The woman who slept in front of a church and carefully arranged her few belongings every morning. The recyclers who greeted each other with dignity, even in the middle of urban chaos. Was Joey among them? Officer, do you know the spots where the street people usually stay? I mean the fixed locations. Martins raised an eyebrow. Why the curiosity? Area knowledge. It's important for our work. There are people under the I-90 overpass, the guys who stay in Millennium Park at night. Some hang around near Wicker Park. Why? I want to get to know our patrol area better. That afternoon, Carla made a point of patrolling alone. She started under the I-90 overpass, where small groups huddled around fires made in cans. She asked for Joey, described Rex, but only received suspicious looks and denials. In Millennium Park, where homeless people congregated when the sun went down, she had more luck. Joey with Rex? Asked a middle-aged woman, her gray hair tied with a rubber band. Yeah, I know him, but he doesn't stay in one place. He moves around a lot, that one. Do you know where I can find him? The woman studied Carla with sharp eyes. You're the cop he helped. He talked about you. Carla's heart sped up. What did he say? That there was a good cop in the area. That you gave Rex some food. The woman smiled, showing a few missing teeth. He loves that dog. Please, if you know where he is, try behind the Art Institute near Grant Park. At night, he sometimes stays there. It's quieter. Carla thanked her and followed the tip. The sun was already setting when she arrived in the area, painting the Chicago sky in shades of orange that contrasted with the gray of the buildings. And there he was, sitting on a bench, sharing a sandwich with Rex. Joey was reading a newspaper someone had left behind. Even from a distance, Carla could see the concentration on his face, the way his eyes attentively scanned the lines. She approached slowly, trying not to startle him. Afternoon, Joey. He looked up from the newspaper, and for a moment Carla saw genuine surprise on his face. Carla? What are you doing here? Looking for you. Rex ran to her, tail wagging, and Carla knelt to pet the animal behind its ears. Looking for me? Why? Carla sat down next to him on the bench, keeping a respectful distance. Because I didn't thank you properly, and because I wanted to talk. Joey carefully folded the newspaper. About what? About you. About how a man who lives on the street knows every move of the city better than any police officer. A tired smile crossed Joey's face. When you don't have a roof, the street becomes your home, and we take care of our home. Carla took 2 sandwiches from her backpack, brought dinner for both of you. Joey hesitated, but Rex had already sniffed the food and was looking at it pleadingly. I can't always take your food, Carla. Why not? Because... Joey searched for the words. Because I don't want you to think I saved you for this. I know it wasn't for that. Carla handed him a sandwich and another piece to Rex. But people need to eat, and I'd like to eat with you. As they ate in silence, watching the end-of-day traffic in the city, Carla felt she was starting to understand something important. Joey wasn't just a homeless man. He was a silent guardian of those streets they both knew so well, for completely different reasons. The visits became a routine. Every Tuesday and Thursday after her shift, Carla would pass by the spots where Joey usually stayed. Sometimes he was near the Art Institute, other times near Union Station, always with Rex by his side, always observing the city's movement. It was Thursday when she finally got him to tell his story. You weren't always homeless, Carla said, offering the hot coffee she had bought in 2 disposable cups. Joey nodded to Rex, who lay down at his feet. What makes you think that? Your vocabulary, the way you read the newspaper, and your hands, she pointed out. Even when they're dirty, you can tell they're the hands of someone who worked with precision. Joey looked at his own hands, as if he were seeing them for the first time in a long time. Machinist, he said finally. 16 years at Ford in Detroit. Carla felt something tighten in her chest. What happened? Work accident. A hydraulic press caught my left hand. Joey showed scars Carla hadn't noticed before. I was on leave, but the bills kept coming. Mortgaged house, treatment, physical therapy. And then? My wife, Lucy, got sick. Cancer. Joey's voice got lower. We sold the house to pay for the treatment. It didn't help. Rex came closer and rested his head on Joey's knee, as if he could feel his owner's sadness. I'm so sorry, Carla said. After Lucy was gone, I kind of gave up. I couldn't be in a closed place anymore. The bills piled up, I lost my job, and I ended up here. Joey gestured, encompassing the entire downtown area. But then Rex showed up. How did you 2 meet? Joey smiled for the first time since he had started telling the story. He was just a puppy, abandoned in a drug area. He was more lost than me. I took care of him. He took care of me. We've been walking these streets together for 3 years. Carla looked at Rex, who was now dozing peacefully at Joey's feet. He saved you too, didn't he? Of course he did. Gave me a reason to wake up every day, you know? Someone who depended on me. And you speak Spanish? Joey laughed. I learned from the Mexicans around here. A lot of people from South America come to work in the city. We help each other out. You're an incredible person, Joey. He shook his head. I'm just a guy who lost his way. No, you saved my life. You take care of Rex. You help immigrants. You know these streets like no one else. That's not losing your way. That's finding a new one. Joey was silent for a long moment, watching the historic buildings that blended with modern constructions on the Chicago skyline. Carla, he said finally, can I ask you a question? Of course. Why do you come here? Why do you care? The question caught Carla by surprise. She thought for a moment before answering. Because you reminded me of something I was forgetting. What? That everyone has a story, and that the best people are sometimes in the places where we least expect them. Rex woke up and yawned, stretching his paws. The sun was beginning to set, and it would soon be time for Carla to leave. Joey, she said, getting up from the bench. Yeah? Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for listening to me. As she walked back to her patrol car, Carla realized she was looking forward to her next visit. There was something about Joey, his intelligence, his kindness, his silent courage, that made her question everything she thought she knew about human worth and second chances, and she was beginning to suspect that Rex wasn't the only one who had been saved on those downtown streets. The Chicago summer arrived with its characteristic thunderstorms, and on a Friday night, the skies opened up with a violence that turned the downtown streets into rivers. Carla was finishing her shift when she received a call from Officer Martins. Sergeant, there are some homeless people needing emergency shelter. Weren't you helping some of them? Carla's heart sped up. Where? Under the I-90 overpass. The rain is too heavy. People are in a dangerous situation. Carla didn't wait for the call to end. She got in her patrol car and drove through the torrential rain that was turning Chicago into an aquatic chaos. Lightning sliced through the dark sky, and the sound of thunder echoed between the buildings like war drums. When she arrived at the overpass, She found about 20 people huddled under the concrete structure, trying to protect themselves from the water running down the walls. She scanned the group with her eyes, looking for Carla. Joey emerged from the group, carrying Rex in his arms. The dog was trembling, and Joey wasn't much better. They were both soaked, and Carla realized they had gotten there after the others. Joey had probably helped someone before protecting himself. "Are you okay?" "We are, but there's a lady over there who's not doing well. I think it's hypothermia." Carla followed Joey to where an elderly woman was lying, trembling violently. She immediately called paramedics on the radio and began the warming procedures she had learned in training. "How did you know what it was?" Joey asked, helping to keep the woman warm. "Basic police medical training. And you? How did you know?" "I've seen it before. Last winter I lost a friend that way." The phrase hung in the air between them, loaded with meaning. Carla looked around, seeing all those wet, cold people, some clearly sick. "Joey, you can't stay here tonight. The temperature is going to drop even more. The city shelters are full, and there are people here who don't like closed places." Carla understood. Trauma, lost documents, problems with authorities. There were many reasons why homeless people avoided official shelters. A crazy idea crossed her mind. What if you went to the precinct's reserve dorm for the night?" Joey looked at her as if she had suggested flying to the moon. "Carla, that's impossible." "Why?" "It's an emergency. I have the authority to use the space in life-threatening situations. Your colleagues are going to freak out." "My colleagues will understand it's a humanitarian emergency protocol." The paramedics arrived and took the elderly woman. Carla observed the other people, men and women of various ages, some with evident mental health issues, others simply down on their luck. They all needed a roof over their heads that night. "Folks," she called out loudly, "does anyone want to spend the night in a dry, warm place?" The reactions were varied: distrust, cautious hope, fear. "It's the police, I'm not going," said an older man. "I trust Carla," said Joey, and his voice carried an authority that made everyone pay attention. "She's a good person." One by one, 7 people accepted the offer. Carla called a patrol van and took them to the precinct, where she faced surprised looks from her on-duty colleagues. Lieutenant Miller called her aside. "Davis, are you sure about what you're doing?" "I am, Lieutenant. It's a humanitarian emergency, and they're only staying tonight." Miller looked at the group, who were being directed to the reserve dorm. Joey held Rex, who had finally stopped trembling. "All right, but it's on your responsibility." Carla organized showers, clean clothes left over from charity drives, and hot meals. Seeing those people, especially Joey, clean, dry, and fed, was one of the most gratifying experiences of her police career. Later, when everyone was settled, Joey approached her in the hallway. "Thank you, Carla. Not just for me, but for all of them. Everyone deserves dignity, Joey. You know this is going to get you in trouble, right?" Carla smiled. "Let the trouble come. It was worth it." Joey was silent for a moment, then said, "It's been 3 years since I slept in a bed. I almost forgot what it was like to have a roof over my head." "And what's it like?" Joey looked at Rex, who was sleeping peacefully in an improvised bed. "It's like being human again." The words echoed in Carla's mind long after she got home that night. Being human again. How many people on the streets of Chicago had lost that basic feeling, and how many second chances were being wasted every day? 2 weeks after the storm incident, Carla was on her night patrol when she heard desperate barking coming from an alley near the Art Institute. Rex. She recognized the sound immediately. She left her patrol car and ran toward the barking, drawing her flashlight. The light revealed a scene that made her blood run cold. 3 men surrounded Joey, who was on the ground, clearly injured. Rex was barking and growling, trying to protect his owner, but one of the attackers held a broken bottle threateningly. "Police! Everyone on the ground now!" The 3 men turned, surprised. Carla recognized the type, drug dealers from a nearby crack house, probably furious because Joey had interfered with some of their business. "Get lost, cop," said the largest of them, a bald man with tattoos on his neck. "This ain't got nothing to do with you." "Yes, it does." Carla kept her weapon pointed. "Everyone, hands on your head. This homeless guy is getting involved where he shouldn't," the man continued, "telling the kids not to use drugs, messing up our business." Carla looked at Joey, who was trying to get up. There was blood on his shirt, but he was conscious. "Hey, you have 10 seconds to get out of here before I call for backup and arrest all of you." "You're not going to do anything," the dealer laughed. "It's 3 against 1. That's when Rex lunged. The dog bit the ankle of the man holding the bottle, making him scream and fall. Carla used the confusion to get closer, and the other 2 fled. "Rex, stop!" Joey yelled, and the dog obeyed immediately. The dealer on the ground was injured, but not seriously. Carla cuffed him while he cursed at cops who mess with the wrong kind of people. "Joey, do you need a hospital?" "No, it's not serious." He got up slowly, Rex glued to his legs. "Just some scratches." But Carla saw it was more than scratches. There was a cut on his arm that was bleeding a lot. "Come here, let me see that." For the first time since they met, Joey didn't resist when she touched him. Carla cleaned the wound carefully, and he winced in pain. "Why did they attack you?" Joey sighed. "There are some kids around here they used to sell drugs. I talk to the boys, tell them stories. Sometimes I manage to convince one to get out of that life. And they didn't like that." "No. They said if I didn't stop, they'd poison Rex." Carla felt a wave of anger. "Sons of B..." "I won't stop, Carla." Joey's voice was firm, despite the pain. "These boys are 8, 9 years old. They deserve a chance." While she finished treating his injuries, Carla realized something that moved her deeply. Joey had risked his own life, and Rex's, to protect kids he didn't even know well. This man whom society ignored was doing more for the youth in the area than many official programs. "Joey," she said, putting away the first aid kit. "Yeah? Have you ever thought about doing this officially?" "What do you mean?" "Social work. Mediation. You have a natural gift for it." Joey laughed humorlessly. "Carla, who would hire a former homeless guy? Someone who values life experience, courage, and street knowledge above a diploma." Rex came closer and rested his head on Carla's knee, as if thanking her for saving his owner. "Thanks for showing up just in time," Joey said. "Always," Carla replied, and she realized it was a promise she intended to keep. As she took the arrested dealer to the station, she couldn't stop thinking about Joey's courage. There was something about him, a combination of kindness and strength, vulnerability and heroism, that fascinated her more with each encounter. And she was beginning to realize that what she felt for him was turning into something much bigger than gratitude or social work. The call came on a Saturday morning, a missing child in Lincoln Park. 5-year-old girl, brown hair, wearing a pink t-shirt and denim shorts, lost for 3 hours. Carla arrived at the park to find the organized chaos of an official search. Fire department, civil police, military police, even search dogs. The girl's parents, a young middle-class couple, were desperate near the playground where they had last seen her. "She was playing right there," the mother sobbed, pointing to the toys. I looked away for 2 seconds to answer the phone. Carla spent the next 2 hours participating in the systematic sweep of the park. They checked every trail, every wooded area, every corner where a child could hide or have been taken. Nothing. That's when she saw a familiar figure approaching down the main avenue. Joey walked slowly, Rex by his side, watching the commotion with attention. When he saw Carla, he waved and walked over to her. "Heard about the commotion?" "Lost kid. 5-year-old girl disappeared over 3 hours ago." Joey looked around, studying the terrain with the eyes of someone who knew every inch of Chicago's streets. "Did you check the abandoned warehouses in the back?" "What warehouses?" "There's a deactivated industrial area on the other side of the Kennedy Expressway, connected to the park by tunnels under the overpasses. A lot of kids get lost over there because they follow paths that seem like games." Carla frowned. "That's not on the official park map." "Because it's not official. But Rex and I know every hole in this city." Carla's heart sped up. "Can you show us?" "Sure." They informed the operation commander, who was initially skeptical but decided to try every possibility. A small team followed Joey and Rex through a path that, indeed, did not appear on any official map. The route took them under overpasses, through empty lots, and finally to an abandoned industrial area that Carla didn't even know existed. Rex started barking. "He's got a scent," Joey said, picking up the pace. They followed the dog to a warehouse with its door ajar. From inside came a small, frightened cry. "Isabel!" Carla yelled. "Help!" came the reply, a weak, scared little voice. The girl was at the back of the warehouse, hidden behind some old boxes. She was dirty and scared, but unharmed. She had gotten lost following a kitten and ended up in that place, unable to find her way back. When Carla picked her up, the girl grabbed her neck tightly. "I want my mummy." "You're going to see your mummy now, sweetie." The reunion was emotional. The parents cried, the girl cried, and even some of the toughest police officers discreetly wiped their eyes. The girl's father approached Joey, who had stayed away during the family reunion. "Sir, I don't know how to thank you." "No need to thank me," Joey said, scratching Rex behind the ear. "We just did what anyone would do." "No, that's not true." The man took out his wallet. "Please accept." "No," Joey was firm. "A child being safe is the only payment I need." Later, when the commotion had died down and the family had left, the lieutenant colonel in charge of the operation approached Carla and Joey. "Mr. Santos, is that right?" "That's right. You saved a life today and you taught us something about our own city." Joey shook his head. "I just helped where I could. It was much more than that." The lieutenant colonel looked at Carla. "Sergeant Davis, can we talk privately?" Carla followed her superior to a more secluded corner. "This man," the lieutenant colonel said, "he has knowledge of the city that could be very valuable to our operations." "Sir, I'm thinking about unconventional offers, one-off consultancies, community work. What do you think?" Carla felt her heart race. "I think that would be the best decision you could make. Then I'll prepare an official proposal." As they drove back downtown, Joey was quiet, thoughtful. "What are you thinking about?" Carla asked. "How life can change from one moment to the next," he said, looking out the car window. "This morning I was just another homeless guy. Now you're the man who saved a child." "No, Carla." Joey looked at her with those deep eyes she had learned to read. "Now I'm someone who might have a future for the first time in a long time." Rex barked once, as if agreeing, and Carla smiled. The pieces were finally falling into place. The official proposal arrived on a Monday. Carla was present when Lieutenant Colonel Miller presented the offer to Joey in a room at the downtown precinct. "Mr. Santos, I'd like to offer you a part-time job as a community mediator." Joey was visibly nervous, sitting in the chair with Rex lying at his feet. He had showered and put on clean clothes that Carla had bought, but he still seemed uncomfortable in the formal environment. "What kind of mediation? You speak Spanish fluently. You know the area better than any of us, and you have a natural ability to handle conflict situations. We want you to work with the immigrant community in the downtown area." Carla watched Joey's face, seeing hope and fear fighting in his expressions. I don't have a formal education for that." "You have something better," the lieutenant colonel said. "You have life experience and genuine empathy. In addition, our psychologist will provide technical support when needed." "And Rex?" Miller smiled. "Rex can stay. In fact, he might even help. Many people feel more at ease around animals." "What would my specific job be?" "Mediating conflicts between street vendors, helping immigrants with documentation problems, find the right agencies, serving as a bridge between the community and the police, eventually participating in operations where your street knowledge is necessary." Joey was silent for a long moment. Carla could almost hear the thoughts racing through his head. "Can I think about it?" "Of course. But don't take too long. We need someone to start next week." When they left the precinct, Joey was visibly shaken. "Carla, I don't know if I can do this." "Why not?" "I've been living on the street for 3 years. I don't know if I remember what it's like to work in an office, talk to normal people, follow schedules." They stopped at a bench near Grant Park. Rex lay down in the shade, panting from the Chicago heat. "Joey, do you remember how you saved me that first day?" "I remember. You acted on instinct, you did the right thing at the right time. That's exactly what they want you to do on the job." "But what if I don't know how to solve people's problems?" Carla turned to him on the bench. "You already solve them. You convince kids not to sell drugs, help other homeless people, talk to the immigrants in the market. The only difference is that now you'll be doing it officially." Joey looked at his own hands. "What if I can't adapt? What if you can?" They were silent for a few minutes, watching the city's movement. Chicago continued its frantic pace, indifferent to the changes in a man and a dog's life. "Carla," Joey said finally. "Yeah? Why do you believe in me so much?" The question caught Carla by surprise. She thought carefully before answering. "Because in 3 months of knowing you, you've shown me more courage, kindness, and wisdom than a lot of people I've known for years. And because—" She hesitated. "Because what?" "Because when I look at you, I don't see a former homeless man. I see a good man who deserves every chance in the world." Joey looked at her for a long time, and Carla saw tears start to form in his eyes. "No one's talked to me like that in a long time," he said, his voice choked. "Then it's time you started talking about yourself like that." Rex stood up and rested his head on Joey's knee, as if giving moral support. "Do you think I should accept? I think you should do what your heart tells you, but if you'll allow me to give an opinion, always, I think you were born to help people. And this job will give you an official platform to do what you already do naturally." Joey took a deep breath, looking at the Chicago sky, where clouds were forming for another summer afternoon storm. "All right," he said, "I'll accept." Carla smiled, feeling a joy that surprised her with its intensity. "Seriously?" "Seriously, but only if you help me in the first few days. I don't know if I can do it alone." "Of course I'll help. With anything you need." Rex barked once, approving the decision, and the three of them sat on the bench watching Chicago transform around them, just as their lives were transforming. Joey's first week of work was a mix of nervousness, discoveries, and small victories. Carla made a point of stopping by the precinct every day to see how he was adapting. On Monday, she found him sitting at a makeshift table in the entrance hall, with Rex lying beside him, taking in a Bolivian woman who was crying profusely. "¿Qué pasó, señora?" Joey asked in fluent Spanish. The woman explained that her husband had been arrested for not having documents, and she didn't know who to turn to. Joey listened patiently, asking specific questions, and then turned to the desk clerk. "Mark, she needs to talk to someone from immigration about regularization. Can you point her in the right direction?" Carla watched, impressed, as Joey naturally assumed the role of a bridge between the two realities, that of the immigrant community and that of American bureaucracy. On Wednesday, she found a more complex situation. Two street vendors, a Peruvian and an American, were arguing violently over the best spot to sell on Michigan Avenue. "You two, listen to me," Joey said, positioning himself between them. Rex sat quietly, calm but alert. "I've known this street for 3 years. I know where each of you can work without bothering the other." "And who are you to say?" the American asked aggressively. "Someone who's slept on every corner of this area and knows the street is big enough for everyone, as long as we use our heads." Something in Joey's calm disarmed the situation. In 15 minutes, he had suggested a territorial division that satisfied both vendors. "How did you do that?" Carla asked him later. "It's not so different from calming Rex down when he's nervous," Joey smiled. "Everyone wants the same thing, respect and a chance to earn a living." On Friday, Carla arrived at the precinct and found a small crowd waiting to talk to Joey. There were immigrants, homeless people, street vendors, even some mothers worried about their teenage kids. "He's become a local celebrity," commented Detective Ryan. "People trust him in a way they don't trust police officers. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's excellent. He gets information we could never get, solves conflicts that would become police cases, and does it all with a natural diplomacy that's impressive." Carla felt proud, as if Joey's successes were also her own. Later, when the commotion had died down, she sat next to him. "How are you feeling?" Joey was clearly tired, but there was something different in his eyes. A light that hadn't been there in the first few weeks of their relationship. "It's been intense, but good. Very good. Are you enjoying it?" "Carla, today I helped a Bolivian family find housing, convinced a 14-year-old boy to go back to school instead of selling drugs, and resolved a fight that could have become a police case." He looked at Rex, who was sleeping peacefully next to the table. "It's been years since I felt useful." "You were always useful, Joey. Now you're just getting the recognition you deserve." "No, it's more than that." Joey turned to her. "I was surviving on the street. Now I'm living again." The phrase hung between them, loaded with meaning. Carla realized she was looking at Joey in a different way, no longer as someone who needed to be saved, but as a man who had found his purpose. "Joey," she said impulsively. "Yeah? Would you like to have dinner with me? Not as a police officer visiting a contact, but as a friend inviting a friend?" Joey was surprised. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely. Then I'd love to." Rex woke up and yawned, as if approving the idea. "Saturday night? I can cook for us." "You cook?" Carla laughed. "We'll find out together." As she walked home that night, Carla realized she was looking forward to Saturday in a way she hadn't in a long time. Something was happening between her and Joey, something that went far beyond gratitude or social work. And for the first time in years, she wasn't afraid to find out what it was. Saturday arrived with Carla as nervous as a teenager on a first date. She spent the day organizing her apartment in Lincoln Park, buying ingredients for a dinner that needed to be special but not over the top, and wondering what the heck she was doing. Rex was the first to enter when she opened the door at 7 p.m. The dog sniffed the apartment with curiosity, while Joey stood in the doorway, clearly impressed. "Come on in, Joey. Make yourself at home." He looked different. He was in clean clothes, his hair was cut, and his beard was trimmed. Still the same man she had met on the street, but transformed by the dignity that work had given back to him. "Your apartment is beautiful," he said, looking at the simple but well-kept furniture, the plants on the balcony, the city view that stretched beyond the windows. "Thank you. Can I get you anything to drink?" "Water is fine." Rex had already found a spot near the balcony and settled in, apparently approving of the environment. "How was your first official week?" Carla asked, serving glasses of water. "Intense, but good." Joey sat on the couch, still a little uncomfortable. Yesterday I helped a Peruvian couple open a bank account. It seems like a simple thing, but for them it was huge. And how's it been living in the dorm? Strange, he admitted. After 3 years on the street, having 4 walls and a fixed bed it's like learning to walk again. Carla sat down next to him, keeping a respectful distance. In a good way? In the best possible way. Dinner was a discovery for both of them. Carla had prepared shrimp risotto, one of the few dishes she mastered, and Joey revealed he had surprising culinary knowledge. "Where did you learn to cook?" she asked, impressed with his suggestions for seasoning the food. "My mom. And then, on the street, you learned to make miracles with anything edible. Tell me about your mom." Joey's face softened. "Mrs. Carmen, from El Paso, came to Chicago in the 70s to work as a cleaner. Strong woman, who raised 3 kids on her own after my dad left the family. And your siblings? One lives in Houston, the other in Miami. We lost touch after I went to live on the street. They tried to help at first, but..." Joey paused. "I was in a very dark place. I couldn't accept help from anyone. And now I'm learning that accepting help isn't a weakness." After dinner, they sat on the balcony with coffee, watching the lights of Chicago turn on in the night. Rex was sleeping peacefully at Joey's feet. "Can I ask you a personal question?" Joey said. "Of course. Why don't you have a boyfriend? A woman like you?" Carla laughed, but there was sadness in the sound. "Too much work, too high expectations, and most men don't understand my profession." "What do you mean?" "They think a female cop is tougher, more masculine. Or they want to protect me from danger. They don't understand that I chose this life." "Why did you choose it?" "Because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be someone who protects those who need it." She looked at him. "Just like you do, only in a different way." "Carla," Joey said, and there was something different in his voice. "Yeah? Can I tell you something? Anything. Ever since Lucy died, I couldn't feel anymore. It was as if a part of me died with her." He looked at his own hands. "But since I met you, since you started showing up on those benches to talk to me..." "Joey, let me finish." He looked up to meet her eyes. "You made me remember that I was still alive, that I could still feel good things." Carla's heart raced. "What kind of things?" "Gratitude, hope." He paused. "Affection for someone." They looked at each other for a long moment, and Carla felt she was on the verge of something that could change everything between them. "Joey," she said softly. "I know it's complicated," he continued quickly. "I know I'm a former homeless man, that I'm still rebuilding my life, that maybe you just feel sorry for me. It's not pity." "It's not." Carla moved closer on the couch. "It's definitely not pity." "Then what is it?" She took a deep breath, gathering courage. "It's admiration. It's affection. It's love, Joey." His eyes widened. "Love. I fell in love with a man who is brave, kind, intelligent, and strong. A man who saved my life and then taught me how to live better." She touched his face softly. "The fact that you were once homeless doesn't change any of that." Joey closed his eyes, resting his face against her hand. "I don't know if I deserve this. You deserve everything good that life has to offer." When he kissed her, it was with the tenderness of someone who had forgotten how to receive affection and was slowly relearning. And Rex, even while sleeping, wagged his tail once as if approving. Joey's story began to spread through the city unexpectedly. First, it was a small article in the local paper about the police's new community mediation program. Then, a bigger report in the Chicago Tribune about the former homeless man who became a hero. Carla was reading the article on the precinct's computer when Joey approached, clearly uncomfortable with the attention. "Is all this necessary?" he asked, looking at his own picture on the front page of the city section. "It is necessary," said Detective Ryan, who had overheard the conversation. "Joey, you've become a symbol that social reintegration works. This can open doors for other similar programs. But I don't want to be a symbol. I just want to work in peace." Carla understood his discomfort. Joey was a naturally private person, and all that exposure went against his nature. "The problem is that the story is too inspiring to be ignored," she said. "Homeless man saves cop, becomes a community mediator, and now is helping hundreds of people downtown. Here's the kind of thing that gives the city hope." The following week, interview requests multiplied. Radio, TV, magazines, everyone wanted to tell the story of Joe with Rex, as the press had nicknamed the pair. "I don't know how to talk on camera," Joey told Carla on one of the nights they had dinner together, something that had become a routine in recent weeks. "You don't need to be eloquent. You just need to be yourself." The first TV interview was on the local morning show. Carla accompanied Joey to the studio where he was visibly nervous. What if I say something stupid? You won't. You know more about the streets of Chicago than any expert. The interview surprised even Carla. Joey spoke naturally about his journey, about the challenges of life on the street, about the importance of seeing dignity in every person. When the host asked about his relationship with Rex, his eyes lit up. Rex saved me as much as I saved him. On the street, you learn that loyalty is worth more than any material possession. And what is your message to other people who are going through difficulties? Joey thought for a moment. That everyone deserves a second chance, but you have to be willing to accept help when it shows up. After the interview, while they walked back to the car, Carla noticed a change in Joey. He stood straighter, more confident. How do you feel? Different. As if my story was worth something. Your story was always worth something, Joey. No, Carla. Before it was just a personal tragedy. Now maybe it can help other people. In the following weeks, the effects of the media exposure became evident. The community mediation program received support from the City Hall to be expanded. NGOs started looking for Joey to give talks on social reintegration, and most importantly, other homeless people began seeking help, inspired by his story. So you've become an urban legend, Carla joked one afternoon when she found Joey serving a line of 15 people at the precinct. An urban legend with a lot of work, he laughed, but there was satisfaction in his voice. Official recognition came at a ceremony at the Chicago City Hall, where Joey received a Medal of Merit for community services. Carla was in the audience, proud, when he went up to the stage. In his speech, Joey was simple and direct. This medal isn't just mine. It's for everyone who believes that people can change, that everyone deserves dignity, and especially for Sergeant Carla Davis, who showed me I still had worth when I myself had forgotten. Carla felt her eyes well up as he looked directly at her in the audience. After the ceremony, while they celebrated at a restaurant downtown, Joey held her hand across the table. Carla, I need to tell you something. Tell me. 6 months ago, I didn't believe I would have a future. Today I not only believe it, but I want to build that future with you. Carla's heart raced. Joey, I know I'm still a man in reconstruction. I know I have a lot to learn about how to live a normal life, but I love you, and I want to try. Carla squeezed his hand. I want to try too. Rex, who had been calm at their feet throughout the conversation, barked once, approving the decision. And for the first time in a long time, the future seemed full of endless possibilities. The apartment was small, a studio in Pilsen close to the precinct where Joey worked. But when Carla helped carry his few belongings to his new home, she felt an emotion that surprised her with its intensity. It's not much, Joey said, looking around the modest but clean space. It's perfect, Carla replied, watching as Rex had already chosen his spot near the window. It was Joey's first apartment in 3 years. The first place he could call his own since he lost the house in Detroit. Carla knew what that meant to him, and she also knew what it meant to her to be there, helping him set up this new home. Carla, Joey said, stopping to organize his clothes in the closet. Yeah? Thank you for everything. She came closer and kissed him softly. No need to thank me. We're a family now. A family? You, me, and Rex. An unconventional family, but a family. Rex barked as if agreeing, running to them with his tail wagging. In the following months, the routine of the three of them settled naturally. Joey worked at the precinct during the day, mediating conflicts, helping immigrants, serving as a bridge between the community and the authorities. Carla continued her patrols, but now with an unofficial partner who knew every corner of downtown better than any GPS. He changed you, commented Officer Martins one afternoon when they were patrolling the Michigan Avenue area together. What do you mean? You've become more human. Before, you saw problems. Now you see the people behind the problems. Carla smiled. Martins was right. Joey had taught her something fundamental about community policing, that behind every conflict, every crime, every social problem, there were human beings with stories, fears, and hopes. The change was also noticed by her superiors. Lieutenant Colonel Miller called her in for a private conversation on a Thursday. Davis, the crime rates in our patrol area have dropped 30% since Joey started working with us. He has a natural gift for resolving conflicts before they become crimes, sir. Exactly. And you have a natural gift for identifying unique talents. Miller smiled. I'm recommending you for the Community Policing Specialization course. And I want you to set up an official program using the experience with Joey. Sir, a program for the reintegration of homeless people through community work. Would you be interested in coordinating it? Carla's heart sped up. It was a unique opportunity to turn the experience with Joey into something bigger, something that could help hundreds of other people. "Very interested, sir." That night, she told Joey the news while they cooked dinner together in their small apartment. Rex was sleeping in his corner, already completely adapted to the new routine. "Carla, that's incredible," Joey said, hugging her. "You're going to be able to help so many people. We're going to be able to help. I can't do this without you as the program's official consultant. I'd love to, but—" Joey hesitated. "But what? What if people don't adapt like I did? What if I was just lucky?" Carla held his face in her hands. "Joey, you weren't lucky. You were persistent, courageous, and willing to start over. And there are many people out there with those same qualities who just need an opportunity. You're right. I always am." She laughed, and he laughed with her. A few weeks later, the Second Chance program was officially launched by the Chicago Police Department. Joey became a field coordinator, responsible for identifying potential candidates among the homeless population and monitoring their integration into community work. The first group was small, only 5 people, but they all had something in common. They had been recommended by Joey, who had spent weeks on the streets talking, observing, identifying those who were ready for a new chance. "How do you choose?" Carla asked, watching Joey talk to a young man who had lost his job and home after a depression. "It's in their eyes," Joey said. "When a person still has hope in their eyes, even if they don't know it, it's because they still believe things can get better." The program was a success from the start. Within 6 months, 4 of the 5 people in the first group were employed and living in fixed homes. The media once again sought out Joey, who now felt comfortable talking about the work. "What has changed in you?" asked a journalist from the Chicago Sun-Times. "I learned that helping others find their way is the best way to stay on my own path," Joey replied, Rex sitting calmly by his side during the interview. The reporter smiled. "And what is your path now?" Joey looked at Carla, who was out of camera range but watching everything. "My path is to build a life alongside the person who saved me, to do work that gives me purpose, and to take care of the best friend anyone could have," he said, petting Rex. "And the future?" "The future?" Joey smiled, a genuine smile that completely transformed his face. "The future is something I want to live one day at a time, but always with the people I love." When the camera stopped recording, Carla approached. "I liked your answer about the future. I told the truth. For the first time in years, I really want to have a future." Rex barked happily, and the 3 of them went out together for another day of work on the streets of Chicago, streets that had been witnesses to their story and were now the stage for their new beginning. 1 year after the first meeting between Carla and Joey at that brick wall in downtown Chicago, they returned to the spot. Rex ran ahead, recognizing the way as if he had an internal GPS. "Do you remember exactly what you were thinking that day?" Carla asked, stopping at the place where it all began. Joey looked at the wall, then at the corner where the attacker had emerged from the shadows. "I was thinking you seemed like a different kind of cop, that you said hello to people, that you treated everyone with respect." He smiled. "And I was thinking that a good person like that didn't deserve to be attacked by a coward. And now? What do you think when you look at this place?" "I think this is where my real life began." Rex sniffed around, investigating familiar and new smells. The dog had gained a few pounds since he moved into the apartment, and his coat shone with health. "Joey," Carla said, pulling an envelope from her pocket. "What's that?" "Open it." Inside the envelope was an official letter from the city of Chicago and a symbolic key. "Citizen of the Year," Joey read aloud, incredulous. "Carla, it's the city's official recognition for your work with the Second Chance program. And the key is symbolic, but it represents that you will always be welcome anywhere in Chicago." Joey looked at the letter for a long moment, then looked up to meet Carla's eyes. "You know what the most incredible part of all this is?" "What?" "A year ago, I was invisible to this city. Today, the city gives me a symbolic key. But most importantly," he held her hand, "is that I found the real key." "What key?" "The key to believing in myself again. And you were the one who gave me that key." Carla felt tears form in her eyes. "You always had that key, Joey. You had just forgotten where you'd put it." Rex barked, drawing attention to a group of children who were approaching. They were some of the kids Joey had helped to get out of the drug trade, now in uniform on their way to school. "Uncle Joe," yelled the smallest of them, running to hug his legs. "Hey guys, how are you?" "Good. Is Aunt Carla coming to our school today?" a girl with braids asked. Carla had started giving talks on safety and citizenship at the schools in the area, always accompanied by Joey and Rex. "I am. Did you study the questions I left last week?" "We did," they shouted in chorus. After the children went on to school, Carla and Joey walked slowly through the downtown streets. It was a typical Chicago morning. Heavy traffic, vendors offering their goods, the smell of coffee and pastries coming from the bakeries. "Look at this," Joey said, pointing to a newsstand. The front page of the Chicago Herald featured a story about the expansion of the Second Chance program to other regions of the city. The photo showed Carla and Joey during one of the training sessions for new mediators. The program, created by Sergeant Carla Davis and coordinated by former homeless man Joe Santos, has already reintegrated more than 50 people in vulnerable situations. Carla read aloud. "Joe Santos," Joey laughed. "It's been a long time since anyone called me by my full name. To the city, you're Joe Santos, social coordinator. To me, you'll always be the Joey who saved my life that night." They stopped in front of the precinct where Joey worked. Through the window, they could see the normal movement. People waiting for assistance, police officers writing reports, and in the middle of it all, Rex sleeping peacefully in his official bed. "Rex has become the precinct mascot," Carla commented. "He deserves it. He was the first to believe our story could have a happy ending." "Our story hasn't ended, Joey. It's just beginning." Joey turned to her, and there was something solemn in his eyes. "Carla, can I ask you something?" "Anything. Marry me." The request was so direct, so simple, that for a moment Carla wasn't sure if she had heard right. "What?" "Marry me. I know I can't offer much, a former homeless man with a complicated past who's still rebuilding his life, but I can offer true love, absolute loyalty, and the promise that I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of what you've done for me." Carla's heart sped up so much she was afraid she would faint. "Joey, I know it's crazy. I know your family might not understand, that your colleagues might judge." "Yes." "Yes, what?" "Yes, I'll marry you." The smile that lit up Joey's face was like the sunrise after the longest night of the year. "Seriously?" "Seriously, I fell in love with a courageous, generous, and honest man. The fact that you've gone through difficulties only proves your strength of character." They kissed right there on the sidewalk, indifferent to the city's movement around them. When they separated, Rex was in the precinct window, watching them with his head tilted, as if he understood exactly what was happening. "And Rex?" Joey asked. "Rex will be our best man, of course." 3 months later, in a simple ceremony at the precinct's chapel, Carla Davis became Carla Santos. Rex carried the rings on a special cushion, and Lieutenant Colonel Miller gave them his blessing. At the reception, held in the precinct's courtyard with the presence of police colleagues, former homeless people who had been reintegrated through the program, immigrants Joey had helped, and children from the schools where they gave talks, Detective Ryan made a toast. A year ago, Joey was a social statistic. Carla was a competent but distant police officer. Today they are living proof that love transforms, that second chances work, and that the best partnerships emerge in the most unexpected places. Everyone applauded, and Rex barked happily. Later, when the party was over and they were returning home, now a larger apartment in Lincoln Park, which allowed for an office where Carla coordinated the program's expansion, Joey stopped at the same corner where it all began. "Carla, can I tell you a secret?" "Always. That first night when I warned you about the danger, it wasn't just because you seemed like a good person." "It wasn't?" Joey smiled, a smile she had learned to read like an open book. "It was because you were the first person in 3 years who said hello to me when you walked by me on the street. You just waved and said, 'Good afternoon.' You don't even remember, but I do." Carla was silent, trying to recall the memory. "I thought, this cop is different, and when I saw that guy following you, I thought I couldn't let anything happen to someone who still treated a homeless person like a human being. So you saved me because I said hello to you. I saved you because you reminded me that I was still a person." Rex barked once, as he always did when he approved of something, and the three of them went on their way home through the streets of Chicago that had witnessed their unlikely love story. A story that began with a whispered warning in the darkness and turned into a new life built on love, hope, and the certainty that everyone, absolutely everyone, deserves a second chance. And sometimes, if we're lucky, that second chance comes with a love that transforms not only our lives but the whole world around us.